Luca Guadagnino. Okay, this guy, Luca, I'm just gonna call him Luca. He directed Call Me By Your Name and then Suspiria. Call Me By Your Name wasn't so big on, it kind of felt like gay fan fiction. I know that's like ridiculously surface level, but I don't know, I just felt like the relationship was fairly surface level and just all sexual. There wasn't much heart to it. As gay films go, I don't know, I just thought it was dead fan fiction-y. And like, oh, we're in Paris and like, oh, you watch me sunbathing. It wasn't for me. And also, I didn't like it because I'm not fucking gay, mate. But then he made Suspiria in 2018 and that was a fucking lit film. Need to rewatch it again, but that stood out. I was like, ridiculously memorable. But yeah, it's a remake of Dario Argento's 1977 film, Suspiria. Much better film than that in my opinion, this new one. Great reboot, completely different, completely like different take. Unexpected changes he did, but in good ways. Much longer, so much more going on. There's so much to dig into that film, and I don't think I was like quite intellectually aware when I first watched that, and I want to watch it again. But he's definitely, yeah, maybe just because of Suspiria, he's in the higher bracket of our sort of remarkable. Again, it's just like there's loads of people in the remarkable bracket that have done like 2 or 3 great films, like brilliant films, but I just need a bit more. I need to look at their careers for a few more years just to see. It's hard, but it's, you know, it's all just a big fuck off game. All right, Lynne Ramsey. Oh, nice one, Lynne Ramsey. You'll be here. You are here to prove that I am not sexist. Lynne Ramsey is the best female director, in my opinion, working today. She's just fucking lit. There's only like 2 films I've seen from her. We need to talk about Kevin, which I think was 2011 maybe, and more recently You Were Never Really Here, which was much smaller, but just, again, I want to rewatch it. It's stuck in my mind. I feel like I slept on it a little bit. I just thought it was like another artsy film, but no, that's got some shit going on. She's a very subtle director. I think she's like Irish. That's an Irish name, isn't it, Lynne Ramsey? But yeah, just fucking cool, man. Understated as well, not like everyone. She hasn't been politicised just because her stuff is actually challenging. She's fucking great. This feels weird putting her in our tour. I don't know, because even though she's done 2 films, I feel like she's fully kind of established herself. I feel like she's proper like honed in on her fucking style. So I feel like, yeah, she's sort of there. Thing is, now it's weird that Luca Guadagnino's not there. What the fuck? It's all fucking bullshit. M. Night Shyamalan, alright. Definitely not bland, and definitely not remarkable anymore. So if you don't know, somehow, M. Night Shyamalan was like a household director back in like the 90s or 2000s. He made Sixth Sense, which is obviously a huge film. Everyone loved it. It's a pretty good film. Yeah, it's a really good film, to be fair. Great twists. But then he never quite recaptured the magic of The Sixth Sense. He did Unbreakable, which is really good though. After he made The Sixth Sense, he was like hot shit, and everyone was saying, oh, you're the next Spielberg, mate. Definitely went to his head. Because with the exception of Unbreakable, he's made utter shite ever since. At least the ones I've seen. It's quite funny because he still has an iconic repertoire, an iconic collection of notoriously awful films like The Last Airbender, The Happening, and After Earth. Just like absolutely knocked it out of the park each time in terms of making a shit film. It's quite like, you go, oh bloody hell, he made all of those, did he? After Earth, I think, is the most recent one. That was shite, but that was very early 2010s. The only film I've seen since is Split. I haven't seen The Visit, which apparently is like mixed bag. Split was very well done and very competently made. He's a very visually expressive filmmaker. He's got a great eye for cinematography and how to convey certain things really subtly in like ways that you wouldn't think of. But yeah, like Split was just a great example of that. But I believe that Split was based off a screenplay that he wrote back in like the Sixth Sense days, so he wrote it when he was still like competent or not full of himself or something. But as of right now, I haven't seen Old and I haven't seen Glass, but I didn't want to see Glass, even though I liked Split. It was a sequel to Split. I didn't want to see Glass because of all the shite reviews, and it was straight back to just shitty old M. Night Shyamalan. I'm pretty sure that if either Glass or Old were deviations from the usual M. Night Shyamalan shtick, I would have heard about it by now and been compelled to go and watch them. So I'm kind of going to judge him just again for those other shit like After Earth and all that, and I think he's still incompetent. You know, obviously this is all broad, but he's definitely incompetent. He's not a hack, because at least, you know, he tries, but he's not like a fucking... Just so it's 100 directors, I'm going to put Tommy Wiseau in, and I know exactly where he's going. I won't even explain myself. So yeah, Tommy Wiseau, I'm just like, let's quickly do him, even though it's completely out of sequence, because I just forgot. Tommy Wiseau is a douchebag, basically. He's a fucking narcissist, made a fucking indulgent piece of shit film that's all about his ego and how everyone betrays him. Lindsay Ellis just made a brilliant video on narcissism in film and how it's like when it's accurately depicted. And honestly, you think about how Tommy Wiseau presents his character in The Room, it fits all of the criteria for like what Lindsay Ellis was saying was a narcissist, just like fucking, oh, everyone's betrayed me. It's like, yeah, it's fucking textbook actually. But yeah, Tommy Wiseau, everyone memes him like, he's the funny guy, oh, isn't he that lovable idiot? No, he's not. He's a fucking cunt. He knows what he's doing, right? He made a shite film. He treated all his fucking staff like shit just to fucking, for this fucking ego project of his. He's fucking disconnected from reality, and now he's clued into this ironic cult following that fucking The Room has, and he's using that to get money. He's exploiting all of you. He's clued into it. He's just trying to fucking get money. And then you see all these fucking SNL skits or like fucking videos that people do with Tommy Wiseau, and he's like, fuck off. He's a talentless fucking narcissist. Yeah, it's funny watching him fail because he's a fucking fool. That's why. He's a fucking cunt. Watch out for people like this guy in life. Ha ha ha, it's all funny. No, you're an opportunistic narcissist bastard. Do you remember when he like fucking barged on stage at the Golden Globes? Oh, he fucking loved being there. He just wanted to go to all the parties, didn't he? Fucking wanker. He's easy. Yeah, Tommy Wiseau is easily going in hack because like I hate. He's he's not a nice guy. I know people go, oh yeah, he's a shit filmmaker, but he's a sound guy. No, he's fucking not. Next up is Martin McDonagh. Wrote and directed In Bruges. Wrote and directed 3 Billboards. Wrote and directed 7 Psychopaths. So all decent films. 7 Psychopaths I can't remember as much about. Probably the weakest of those 3. 3 Billboards is fucking brilliant. Watched it recently. Just really well done, really well written, unique, good addition to 2010 cinema. Had its own vision, had its own thing, worthy of the hype. In Bruges I liked a lot as well. So he's definitely at the very least remarkable, very unique style. Not quite like an auteur yet. Martin Scorsese, big household A-list, huge, most famous director, one of the most famous directors of all time. If this was the 90s or 80s, he'd easily go into genius. Yeah, I think that's, fucking easily. He is kind of like Italian Kubrick. He made fucking Taxi Driver, man. Just fucking hell. And he's got range as well. Like, Bringing Out the Dead is so different to like the gangster stuff. He nailed the gangster stuff. He's the master of gangster cinema. The Departed, even Shutter Island, I don't even like it that much, but that's still vastly different to all his other work. And obviously a couple of the more recent films that I'm judging him for, The Irishman, Silence and Wolf of Wall Street. All 3 of those films are solid films. Silence is this like slow, mature, Tarkovskian, Bergman-esque crisis of faith film. Then we compare that to the 2013 film Wolf of Wall Street, which is just this ridiculously rambunctious but justifiably so almost immature movie, like that's in the similar vein to like the Goodfellas, but still like Wolf of Wall Street was just fucking brilliant and so enjoyable for just average film watchers, but you still learn something. Great acting as well, great style, great pacing, just flawless. He's still got the same flair that he had when he made Goodfellas. He's still got the same ability. And then The Irishman, which is obviously very long and maybe you could say a bit indulgent, but still I kind of felt like it flew by, at least the second time to be fair. But a lot of The Irishman features very competent filmmaking. However, some of the editing in The Irishman and Silence is a little bit choppy, like shot to shot sort of things. There's some stuff in there that's kind of weird. I think he's got a bit of a weird editor. I remember The Departed having weird editing as well. But for his age, the fact that he made Wolf of Wall Street, and all these other films is mad. Wolf of Wall Street is one of the most energetic films of the last decade, and this old guy made it. He's still got it. He's okay. He's maybe, if we were judging him for Taxi Driver, straight into the fucking genius tier. But relative to now, solid auteur, runner-up for genius. Matt Reeves, good action director. He directed Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and War for the Planet of the Apes, which aren't very good films, kind of bland and boring and cliche and all that, but he directed the action scenes well, but I don't care. There's plenty of fucking good action directors. I just don't care. Just have some fucking flair. Easily bland. Matt Vaughn is partially talented. He did Kick-Ass, Kingsman 1 and 2, some other shit. I used to really like him when I was a bit younger, obviously. He's better than Guy Ritchie, I guess. He's trying to be a bit of like Edgar Wright. He's nowhere near that level. Both Kingsman and Kick-Ass are just almost cool in terms of the style of how they're made, but they're just missing something, and I don't know what it is. They just don't hit for me. They just don't go to certain lengths. I don't know. I can't really quantify. I just think maybe they're still fairly conventional. I don't know. X-Men First Class, which been a while since I've seen that, but I don't know. I remember it's cheesy. There's that line that said "mutant and proud," which is like fucking hell. That's subtle. I think he could be much better. I just don't like him at all. Oh yeah, Layer Cake as well, which is very Guy Ritchie-ian. He's stylistic, but just still very derivative. Not really his own thing. So he's kind of like the low end of talented for me. Low end of the spark. The sparky nature of film, whatever. I don't like him that much at all, really. And every time I rewatch like Kingsman stuff, I like it less. And Kingsman 2 was shite. Mel Gibson, this is a weird one to have, but okay, what did he do recently? So his most recent film is Hacksaw Ridge, which was ridiculously cheesy. I think he's known for making very patriotic to like the Christian American, Catholic American demographic, I guess. Apocalypto was cool. That was like a weird, fun film, but I don't really think Passion of the Christ is great. I think it's the only like notable thing of Passion of the Christ is like how visceral and disturbing it's supposed to be towards like the crucifixion, and there was an interesting thing to do. I can imagine Lars von Trier doing it much better, but this kind of felt like a exploitation film. I watched it very recently. It just didn't have like the substance to back it up because all the acting was just shy, all the storytelling and like the drama was melodramatic, just didn't have anything else going on, all just gore porn. It was just, yeah, it was not a good film. Hacksaw Ridge was cheesy as shit, and again really patriotic, you know, typical American hero. So does he go bland or does he go, yeah, I'll go bland just because he's not incompetent. Like Hacksaw Ridge was like good, you know, it's competently made. Next up is Angelo Covino. He wrote and directed, I believe, The Climb, which is a film came out 2019. Only just got around to watching it recently. Very good film about a friendship between two people, a very complicated, fucked up friendship between two people. It balances a lot of emotion of like anger towards the characters. It's a very complex relationship of just like betrayal, anger, animosity, love, all that shit, you know, friendship. It's mental, and it's his first film, so I just wanted to like, bloody hell, yeah, you knocked it out of the park for your first film. It's awesome, a lot of continuous takes, but not like pretentiously done. It flows very well. It stretches over multiple years of their friendship, and it all flows very well, and like scene to scene. Yeah, it's a very funny film as well. It's very like uniquely shot. It's very kind of like almost underlit. A lot of the shots feel just like fucking miserable, just like, yeah, barely any lights getting in, like, you know. Yeah, it's a very good start, to be fair. So maybe we'll put him in remarkable. I don't know where. It's hard. This is fucking ridiculous. Just keeping track of this. Fuck it, I'll put him in remarkable. Nah, fuck it, I'll put him in talented. Michael Bay, alright. Fucking Michael Bay. Michael Bay knows he's a hack. He knows exactly what he is. He's a rich bastard. He's made loads of money, you know. He made all 5 Transformers films. They're all shit, pandering, product placement, fucking commercials. He makes products, essentially. He made Pain and Gain, which was his attempt at making a serious biopic in the vein of like Wolf of Wall Street, but it was just disgustingly handled and awful. It was a true story, and it was just awfully tackled, and one of the most tasteless films ever made. In a lot of ways, that's his worst film. He occasionally makes like just barely competent films about serious things. He's got a lot of admiration for the American military, so that's why he jerks off the American military in all of his Transformers films, because they also help make the film. They provide all these military vehicles and equipment for the films, and all these extras and uniforms, I'm guessing, just all of that, which I get the admiration for the soldiers and all that, but like the American military as like the ideology, fuck, who knows. As a director, utterly soulless. He knows he's soulless. He's not like other directors who are pretentious. He's not pretentious at all, actually, but just a hack. But he knows he's a hack, and he's happy with being a hack. I think he's the most wealthy director. But yeah, hack. I think everyone knows he's a hack. I've been at it for fucking 3 hours, 22 minutes. Got 33 directors left. I didn't understand how long this would be. I'm going to order pizza. You can see my tummy's rumbling. I'm sorry until my pizza gets here. Large. They get it really fast where I am at. The fucking Domino's have been killing it recently. I thought I'd be like speed running all these directors, but I'm fucking going off on tangents. Let's get my bank account details out. It's what? I just like read it out loud. I've ordered it. It's on its way. Ordered the pizza. The pizza's coming. Okay, Michael Haneke. Michael Haneke is a foreign director. Foreign cunt. What's your fucking nationality? Austrian. Michael Haneke is an Austrian filmmaker. He's made so many good films. One of my favourites is Funny Games, just fucking really disturbing, but it's actually critical of the horror genre. But it's a horror film, but it's fucking the most disturbing home invasion film I've ever seen. I was fucking anxious to shit watching it, because he's an authentic guy. He captures things ridiculously authentically in an authentic level. It's ultimate fly on the wall storytelling. So when he decides to depict home invasion or something like this or anything, it's so real, and it like it's fucking horrifying, that was. More recently, he did The White Ribbon in 2009, which I'm pretty sure is a masterpiece. I just don't really know. I need to rewatch it. I'm really keen on rewatching it because I think it will be a masterpiece when I rewatch it. But yeah, so there's a White Ribbon in 2009. I think that's like Adam from YMS, who's like a big inspiration for me. Michael Haneke is his favourite filmmaker of all time, for good reason. In 2012, Michael Haneke did Amour, which was just flawless film about dementia, and a couple, and one of them's going through dementia, flawlessly executed. And his most recent film was Happy End, which wasn't his best film, but still like a showcase that he's still definitely got it. It's set in the modern landscape, and you got to remember that he's a very old guy, old Haneke. But there's a scene where a girl is watching a YouTube channel, a YouTube video, and in terms of getting like YouTube culture and like the conventions of this type of video that's being depicted, he fucking nails it bang on in terms of the exact editing. And like, he obviously just spent so much time on YouTube and just like figured out, okay, this is what's trendy. It is like the most opposite to like what you'd expect your typical boomer to do. He fucking went in there and he understood it. He said, okay, this is what YouTube looks like, this is what like how like humor works, it's like, you know, influencer culture. It's a brief moment, but it's fucking, what a guy. So you know what, fuck it, ego's ingenious. He's made so many great films, and a lot of them, you know, they're fairly niche. He's an Austrian. I swear he's made French films, German films, Austrian films. The Piano Teacher's a good one to start with as well. Amour's good start. It was all good to start with. The early ones, Seventh Continent's really good actually. Yeah, but I think it's his first film. But I remember not liking that when I first watched it. But looking back, it's like, yeah, it's pretty cool. Funny Game's fucking harrowing. The White Ribbon I want to rewatch. Code Unknown I want to rewatch. Yeah, I think he kind of deserves to be ingenious, even though I know Scorsese should be in there by that criteria. But fucking hell. Fuck it, you care. Look, it's the Black and White gang. It's literally the Black and White gang. It's weird, but, you know, take this with a grain of salt. This is the fucking gimmicky tier list video for the algorithm. Next up, Mike Flanagan. Very different kind of level. Mike Flanagan, I like him. He was like the creative director behind Haunting of Hill House. It's all his style, and he also did Gerald's Game. Haunting of Hill House was good. There was a lot of good like cinematography, and he elevated a lot of fairly basic material, fairly basic script writing with his directing. So he's definitely unique in that way. I like the way he used his actors. And Gerald's Game I really liked. That was like, I watched it. It's super enjoyable, super fun, a bit schlocky. The acting in the beginning was a bit shit, but it just gets better. Like that, what's her name? Carla Gugino, I think her name is. She's a very kind of hammy actor, but so good as well. Like at the same time, one of the most impressionable actresses. You just love watching her on screen. She's got such a presence, even though it's not particularly realistic or anything. But yeah, Mike Flanagan, maybe just for Gerald's Game, definitely talented, I'd say. Nicolas Winding Refn, all of like the indie boys should have known who Nicolas Winding Refn is. So he made Drive. Drive is a huge film for like modern, this generation of cinephiles, or at least, you know, younger cinephiles. Everyone likes to fancy themselves as the Ryan Gosling kind of damaged, quiet guy who can just fuck everything up, who can just like fuck you up in a minute, a bit of a sociopath. Despite all that, Drive's a great film. I'd say it's flawless. It's Nicolas Winding Refn's best film. He also made Bronson a couple of years before that, which no one really talks about, but that's very good. Got Super Hands in it, and Tom Hardy. Obviously a very capable director, and after Drive you'd expect like, oh fucking hell, what's this guy got up his sleeve? And he directed Only God Forgives and Neon Demon afterwards, and I haven't seen either of those. They didn't go down well with critics, and apparently they're not very good, but I have seen Too Old to Die Young, and it is ridiculously indulgent, but that's the last thing I'm worried about, I guess. I can always get past that a little bit if I like the director's style enough. There's definitely cool stuff going on. It's very Lynchian in that way. I really thought that like the way he directed the episodes of Too Old to Die Young were just like, you kind of hung on every word because everyone said everything so slowly, and it was very immersive in that way. Definitely like a show unlike anything else I'd ever seen before, and dark and fucked up, and yeah, definitely something to behold as a show, as like a limited event series or whatever the fuck you say. Fucked up, you know, just a lot, but some of it was like, fucking hell, how slow is this, or you know, so you're completely justified in saying it's fucking slow and ridiculous, and I just scratch my balls. And yeah, but he's a very pretentious guy as well. He's kind of up his own arse, I think, because it's been too long, kind of fuzzy on like the details. But I remember him like saying, "Oh, Drive is for people who are in touch with God or something, or in touch with the higher knowledge." I don't know what he said, but he's definitely. Yeah, he's an auteur. Yeah, he's definitely got it. He's definitely kind of fairly fully realised as well, even though Drive was a long time ago. Yeah, indulgent though, like a bit like Lars von Trier. Noah Baumbach directed Marriage Story. I believe he directed Frances Ha, which wasn't too big on, which starred Greta Gerwig and also was written by Greta Gerwig, I think. I'm not sure if it's like the other way around, because they both wrote films and they both directed films, and it's like really kind of confusing there. So yeah, he did Frances Ha, directed that. Then he directed The Meyerowitz Stories, which I wasn't so big on when I watched it, but a lot of people seem to love it, so maybe I'll give it a second chance, baby. But I did love Marriage Story. That was fucking brilliant. That was a really emotional ride. It veered on being schmaltzy, but it never did really get there. It was all authentic, but it was like, unique dialogue, but still, yeah, just he obviously knows how to do arguments very well. There's been plenty of video essays and Carson Runquest videos on that. Marriage Story's fucking lit. Noah Baumbach is, I'm excited to see his next work. So let's just imagine I rewatched Witch Stories and loved it. Well, didn't love it, but liked it a lot more. So he's definitely got something going on. Panos Cosmatos, or whatever his name is. We're only judging him for one film here, which is Mandy, but a very, very unique film. It stands out. It's a Nicolas Cage, surreal, Lovecraftian, horror thriller action film. Visual echoes to Evil Dead even. But just, yeah, fucking brilliant in terms of utilising Nicolas Cage's aura, his over-the-top aura. And I really do like this film, and I really want to see more of this guy. It's just instantly unique in terms of style and directing. I don't know, it's just, even though it's one film, I'm definitely putting him remarkable. Patty Jenkins, she made a film that's apparently good back in, way back when, with Charlize Theron called Monster, I think. But that's all here and there for me. All I know her for is Wonder Woman, the first Wonder Woman, and Wonder Woman 84, both of which are shit and fairly pandering, and just, yeah, all this political shit wrapped around them, just because they've got women in. They are automatically profound and amazing and triumphant and groundbreaking, even though it's just because feminism is most popular now that Hollywood has adopted it and seems to love it and cherish it so much, when really directors have been doing black films, feminist films, all these films for forever actually. But now it's become a trend and it's getting exploited a lot. The first Wonder Woman is less egregious because it's a time period where these feminist themes fit. Of course, sexism. It's fucking World War One, for crying out loud. But it's still a very bland film. It doesn't really say anything profound, or it almost does at some point. But yeah, it's forgettable. The DC's first competent film, which is why everyone fucking sung its praises, but really it's still fairly bland. And Wonder Woman, the second one, 84, which obviously I hated. I did a whole review on it. Yeah, that was shit and way more pandering and way more just unsubtle and awfully executed, and a terrible structure, terrible tone, just awful. Typical shit DC stuff. Patty Jenkins isn't quite incompetent. Let's just say she's bland as fuck, but in the low tier of bland, I'm afraid. I'm guessing maybe I'd be different if I'd seen what's it called, Monster, whatever the fuck. Oh, who's this? Paul Schrader. Okay, Paul Schrader. I only know about Paul Schrader because Ralph the Movie Maker first mentioned him in his Nicolas Cage-a-thon, where he talked about Dog Eat Dog, which Paul Schrader wrote and directed, and it was awfully directed, at least from the clips that Ralph showcased. And Ralph famously said, dude, stick to writing, because Paul Schrader actually wrote the screenplay for Taxi Driver and Raging Bull, which are two of the best fucking films ever made. But then in 2017, Paul Schrader wrote and directed First Reformed, which a lot of people loved. It was an A24 film, and it was actually one of Ralph's favourite films of that year. And he was like, I'm sorry, Paul, I guess I was fucking wrong. He admitted, he's like, fuck me, I fucking love First Reformed. He said, I wasn't too big on First Reformed. I did feel like it was a lesser Taxi Driver. There was multiple tones that I didn't think it balanced. It did border into being preachy because it was anti-environmentalist, and also there's some good Crisis of Faith stuff in there, but it is actually heavily based on Winter's Light, which is an Ingmar Bergman film from the 60s. And Ingmar Bergman was just much better at doing the Crisis of Faith stuff. It's a harsh comparison, but yeah, it's well directed, to be fair, and visually and tonally, to be fair, in a lot of aspects. It's a fairly flawed character study though, and Ethan Hawke's fucking brilliant in it though. I'd put Paul Schrader in the talented bracket for that reason. I want to see Mishima, Life in 4 Chapters, which is an older film of his, but still. Okay, here we go. I've got to admit, fucking Paul Thomas Anderson. Paul Thomas Anderson is my favourite director of all time because he has a extremely Kubrickian level of competence towards visual storytelling, directing, and making the actors do the best performances, and getting themes across, and telling great stories, and being profound, but also at the same time having a abundantly strong emotional core in all of his films, especially in The Master. That is the perfect balance of a Kubrickian kind of character study mixed with an utter sympathetic character arc. It's a beautiful film. That is one of my favourite films of all time, The Master. Punch Drunk Love is similar, much smaller film. Again, with the whole lining up a director's work and saying, okay, any of these films could be my favourite of all time. It's similar. It's the same case with Paul Thomas Anderson. Punch Drunk Love could be my favourite, Boogie Nights could be my favourite, favourite. There Will Be Blood, The Master, and also it's like the variety and contrast. He's like nailed different tones and genres. Like Boogie Nights is completely different to There Will Be Blood, to The Master, to Phantom Thread, to Punch Drunk Love, Magnolia even. Just like, he hasn't really made a terrible film. Inherent Vice, again, been so long since I watched it. One of his more meaningless, I don't know, maybe there's something there. I want to give him benefit of the doubt, but that's definitely his weakest film. Indulgent, fairly like kind of Nicolas Winding Refn, Too Old to Die Young in that way. Just sort of feels like very meandering intentionally. But I want to see it again. It has got Joaquin Phoenix in, and he's really good in that. But definitely his weakest film, at least from memory. But yeah, There Will Be Blood is a masterpiece. The Master's a masterpiece. Fucking hell, The Master's a great film. Two of the best performances of all time in that, with Philip Seymour Hoffman and Joaquin Phoenix. Paul Thomas Anderson also, just as a guy, he's so funny. He's so down to earth. I remember there's a great story about him going to film school, and the lecturer said, "Oh, we're not here to make Terminator 2," and he's like, "Well, Terminator 2 is a fucking awesome film." So he actually quit film school, and that's so inspiring. You know, he's my favourite director. Punch Drunk Love, fucking hell, what a brilliant film. Such a relatable character, Punch Drunk Love, in Adam Sandler's best film. Also, yeah, just the range, and from Boogie Nights to Phantom Thread, which is like a grandma film, but like the best version of a grandma film it could be. Just a brilliant director, and so down to earth. He's at like a panel in Cannes Film Festival for Punch Drunk Love, and he's just on coke, and it's just so funny.
What is your favorite romance? And then also conversely, what do you think the sexiest movie ever made is?
I would say E.T. is pretty sexy.
Mulholland Drive's pretty sexy.
Oh, Phil.
I think it is.
It's great. You like that, don't you?
I think it's
Yeah. Okay.
He's just such a funny guy. He's not like a pretentious douchebag. He's big buddies with Quentin Tarantino. Quentin Tarantino loves Boogie Nights and There Will Be Blood, and that's really cool to see. Yeah, he's just I love him. Yeah, he's a fucking brilliant director. Yeah, so his films are fucking something else. He's a genius because he's still got it, and he's like, not only has he still got it, he's evolved. Phantom Thread, he's never done anything remotely like Phantom Thread before, and he nailed what he was going for with that, and he's just like, there's a reason that fucking Daniel Day-Lewis has worked with him twice. Like, that is mad if you think about it. As an actor, he's hard to come by for like a director to use, and he's worked with Paul Thomas Anderson twice. Definitely a genius for me. Yeah, bro. He's become my favourite director for fairly objective reasons as well as emotional reasons as well, because of like the films. But yeah, watch The Master. Fuck me. Best Joaquin Phoenix performance as well. Fuck the Joker, man. Pete Docter, very different, okay. Enthusiasm level's going a bit down. Pete Docter, what did he do? Another Pixar director, another one of like the famous 4 Pixar cronies. Pete Docter directed Monsters Inc., Up, Inside Out and Soul, all of which are competent films. Very strong films. Inside Out and Soul are the more competent, more unique, standout films of like the late Pixar era of 2010, sorry. I always associated Inside Out with the film that I just didn't like. It was always that film that like did all the awards and, you know, but it wasn't that good. But then I rewatched it not long ago. It's like, you know, that's a pretty good film actually. And Soul is also good. I like Coco more, but he didn't direct Coco, by the way. That was someone else. Soul was good, had a lot of unique things to it, but yeah, again, certain Pixar pitfalls it had. He's a good director, definitely, but obviously again a slave to Pixar, and they're not 100%. So I'm gonna put him in talented, kind of along with Lasseter and the others. Quentin Tarantino, the only Q of the whole list. Quentin fucking Tarantino, perhaps the most famous, most popular director of all time, maybe. Fucking so, you know, instantly gets you into filmmaking. You watch like Pulp Fiction once and you're fucking Kino connoisseur. You're like, oh, you know, like, hello, my lady. Oh, fucking, who gives a shit? But, you know, just typical. All the memes come from him. He got a foot fetish, all this. I did just make a video praising his 3 films, Django, Inglourious Bastards, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I don't think all of them are flawless films, though. I like to highlight the similarities that he does include in them. There is, like, some subtextual substance to those films, and all his films, really, that I didn't quite appreciate the first few times. Like, the first time I fell in love with him, was like, oh, he's such a cool stylistic guy, all this blood and gunshots and all this, and that's kind of, like, what most people see him as. Then I kind of went like all mature and like, oh, it is a bit indulgent, isn't it? Oh, he's very bloody. Oh yeah, he kind of uses it, you know, it's all typical Tarantino. Then I kind of curved back around and then I went, oh wait, no, he's using the extreme violence like this for a reason in kind of culturally significant ways. And my pizza's just arrived. One sec. Pizza time. Yeah, baby. What was I saying? Yeah, Tarantino. More that meets the eye than just like the surface level style. So a lot of people kind of go, oh, he's overrated, but there's stuff there. But even his biggest fans, I don't think, really appreciate him on the level that I do. No, I'm not going to be a dick, but you know, I find. Think he's good. Perfect director? No. If I was judging him solely on Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I might actually put him in genius. I think Pulp Fiction is like kind of perfect, as everyone else does. You know, it's brilliant. He has made a lot of hits. 2010s, we're judging him for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Django, and Hateful Eight. Now, he's known for making his films a bit overly long and indulgent, but Once Upon a Time in Hollywood has the most justified runtime because it was all about how things were a bit more serene and slow in Hollywood, and it was all calm, and it's slice of life. It's literally just day in the life. Django Unchained is a little overly long and has like two endings split up into... It's kind of weird that it kind of overhangs a little bit, and he doesn't know how to... He didn't end that very well. Also, Django Unchained is a little bit too similar to Inglourious Basterds. Inglourious Basterds is the better version out of those two, of Django and Inglourious Basterds. Yeah, I fucking really like Inglourious Basterds too. But it's not... The Inglourious Basterds isn't perfect. There's some pacing issues there. But Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is actually very different to the usual Tarantino. It is ridiculously soulful and emotional. It's a very sensitive film. And like all his other films up until that point were kind of very like masculine. Yeah, boo, shoot. And Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is very masculine as well, but still it's got more depth and a bit more... I don't know, the characters have just so much more heart. Pulp Fiction is like a comedic masterpiece in another way, like in a kind of... or pulpy way, I guess. You're not necessarily getting all emotional about it when you're watching it. You're just like, oh, fucking hell, this is a cool film. But Once Upon a Time in Hollywood has an emotional core, and I think it's kind of a nearly perfect film. So I really like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Jackie Brown was also a strong film, but that was long ago. Hateful Eight's really good as like a simplistic, it's a very long film again, but as like a kind of almost stage play film. That's really good, really gripping. He obviously knows what he's doing in terms of how to write a scene, all the video essays. I don't necessarily think he's a genius, but I think there is some genius aspects to his films that I did kind of go into, whether I did it well or not, in that video I made of the Tarantino trilogy. Oh, this is going to be controversial, putting Tarantino in genius tier. Okay, let's just do Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Just for that, he kind of re-put himself back on the map. And I don't care if people think, well, yeah, obviously, well, it's your opinion on it. It's okay to think Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is indulgent, because it technically is. But I'm putting him in fucking genius, fuck it. Not just because I like fucking women smoking cigarettes. And of course, Tarantino's dead full of himself, of course. He fucking is well full of himself. Inglourious Basterds, conceptually, is like almost he's a brilliant fucking idea. Oh, I'm just trying to think what holds it up. I don't know, maybe it's the lack of an emotional core. The pacing isn't brilliant to Inglourious Basterds, I don't know. I want to maybe do a review one day. We're going on a tangent. Okay, why don't turn a light on? Okay, basically, babe. I'm trying to figure out a way to fucking do... Right, we need to do this quick now. Okay, Rian Johnson is next. Rian Johnson's a good director. Because, okay, Looper was decent, as I remember. Great cinematographer. He's got a great cinematographer. Star Wars The Last Jedi is the nicest looking Star Wars film. Cinematographically, it's also the most interesting film since Empire. What happened with Last Jedi? This is probably what really happened. This is my hypothesis. Rian Johnson wanted to do something different because he's like a creative guy. He wanted to do something different. So he started doing stuff that would subvert expectations in the good way. And he started doing different stuff. And like, ooh. But then Disney came in and said, no. Cancelled it out. Instead of kind of redoing it and making like a purely formulaic kind of film like The Force Awakens was, they kind of met in the middle when it was too late. And so you had half of a unconventional Star Wars film from Rian Johnson, and you had half of like a formulaic film from Disney studio execs, and it kind of clashed in the middle. None of the Rian Johnson subversion of the expectations came to fruition, but it also feels completely imbalanced because like they kind of tried to mangle in their fucking weird corporate shit, like the fucking free the animals and shit and free the nipple or whatever. Not his fucking fault. Luke being an arsehole is an interesting direction. It just... The thing I hate about Last Jedi is it cancels itself out at the end. It just says, oh, well, the Force isn't just this, and it just says there's so much more to the Force you don't understand. Then, like, Yoda comes in like, no, it's not. It's still the same as it's been forever. We're not doing anything differently. Force is just something you use to move rocks. So it cancels itself out. And Rian Johnson was trying to do something, then he got fucking cancelled out. Why are you going there? Knives Out's fucking great. Knives Out's brilliant though, isn't it? Knives Out's a great Agatha Christie homage. He's definitely there. I haven't seen Brick yet. Ridley Scott, my mate really likes Ridley Scott. I always call him Ridley Scott. Ridley Scott, back in the day, he made Alien, the original Alien, 1979, which is one of the best science fiction films ever made. He made Blade Runner, which is also a fucking big one. Gladiator as well. But he has had a lot of duds. He's a very, very competent filmmaker. Epic scale, good effects, but he's had a lot of duds in the recent years. Alien Covenant was shit. The Martian was like kind of inoffensive. Exodus Gods and Kings was kind of dumb and shit from what I remember, just kind of overindulgent, boring. He's been trying to recreate the magic of Gladiator ever since that was a hit, and he can never do it. As for now, I'm excited for Gucci. I hope he kind of just makes another fucking great film. He's got it in him. I don't know what's going on, but he hasn't been making very good films recently. So I'm gonna put him. I'm gonna actually put him in Talented, and I think he can like redeem himself. He needs to redeem himself. Black Hawk Down was good, but like Alien Man, you have to be a fucking genius to make Alien Man. Fuck me.